Hey, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are kicking off our Mental Power Week. It's so exciting. Today is 18th of May 2020 and we're kicking off our Mental Power Challenge. Today's interview is loaded. We are talking with Yetunde Shorters and I, Yeti Williams, I get the chance to interview her and bring so much of how she thinks and how she operates to you. Today, the topic is self-worth, purpose, and mental health. We're going to be unpacking all of that and talking about it. And the biggest part of this is at the end of the day, at the end of this week, we're going to be sharing daily challenges with you. And the goal is for you to do things to work on your mental power. Nobody can do it for you. So that's what we want to discuss. We want to tap in and we want to ensure that we all know we have what it takes to excel, to grow, and to be exactly the person we want to be. So we hope you tune in, enjoy, and if you haven't signed up already, you still can. If you have more people who want to sign up, let them do so. All right. So, hello, Yetunde. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited about the Mental Power Challenge.
I am really excited. And the feedback has been really good. And I think what it is the fact that we're talking about your mental power. And I like that perspective because it tells you that you have power to control your mental health and nobody can do the work for you. So we're going to just jump right in. And I love your topic and what we're starting with, what we're kicking it off with. So before we get into the topic for today, and we're going to tear it apart and then build it back up, I want you to introduce yourself, something we don't know about you. Just let us know who's Yetunde Shorters, what is she about? Yeah, go.
Okay. My name is Yetunde Shorters, and I literally thrive when I'm helping other people. And so in terms of what I do, I help women entrepreneurs, specifically women leader entrepreneurs, get to the next level of their purpose so that they can have more impact, build community, and earn profits confidently. Now, I have 20 years of PR experience, so I use my experience in PR, branding, and marketing to help them bring their full and authentic self to the world. So the idea is, if you truly are ready to step fully into the thing that God has called you to do on this planet, I'm your girl. I am a twin mom of two awesome girls. I'm a wife to an amazing husband. Like, I got lucky and I'm holding on. And I've just been blessed to be in a situation where I've always have a thirst for knowledge. Even as a kid, I started reading like major big books when I was maybe 7. So the idea of always learning, I'm like the forever student, teacher, learner. So I love to share what I learned with others in a way that helps them, that is actionable, result driven, and simple. One thing you wouldn't know about me is I know how to crochet.
Oh, really?
I think it's fun, and I'm looking forward to being an old lady crocheting hats and caps and little bags for my grandkids. So, yeah.
Oh, that is so cute. I would never have thought you were a crocheter. That's for sure. Okay, so what can you tell us what topic we're going to be delving into today?
So today we're kind of talking about the connection between your purpose, your self-worth, and your mental health, and how they kind of integrate to each other, and how to meld them together so that you show up in the world in a way that is always about you stepping into the higher version of yourself.
Right. I love that. That's really powerful. And so I'm taking notes myself because I'm all about mental power. So the first thing I want us to jump into is, could you explain what self-worth means from your perspective? Very simply. What does self-worth mean?
So I'm going to use a simple analogy that I think would help. It's, imagine a child being born, right? Everybody has in some way interacted with the idea you were a child, you have a child, you know somebody had a child. Imagine a child being born, and as they are, they're a new, fresh soul ready to accomplish and take in everything. As they are a baby, they are worthy of everything that they desire. But for some reason, as we grow older, we start setting boundaries on what our worth is, right? We keep setting boundaries on what we are worthy of accomplishing or receiving or experiencing. So when I think of self-worth, I think of the intrinsic value of something, period. You know, in the simplest, and another simple analogy is $100 bill, or whatever amount of money you want to think about, $100 bill. And no matter if you scratch on that $100 bill, if you squish it, if you throw it in the toilet, if you throw it in the bathroom, if you throw it on the floor, it's still worth $100. Like literally, meaning no matter what you do to that $100, if you go to the store and give that $100 to buy something, it's still worth $100. So if you can think of yourself that way, you're like a solid, your worth is just there. So the idea that because you experienced something, or because you did something bad, or because somebody did something bad to you, you are less than that value it's just not true. And so I think if people can see self-worth in that way, is the value of what you are doesn't change no matter what happens. You squeeze it, you put it through pressure, you stamp on it, it's still worth that, value in there. And so if you can understand your self-worth in that way, you don't stress yourself when you go through things. You don't stress yourself when someone puts you through things. In that way of your self-worth doesn't diminish because of those things. You're still worthy of as you came into this world, if that makes sense.
It does. So this actually brings me very nicely into the next question I had for you, which was to discuss two things. So self-worth from two perspectives. One being, what is a myth around self-worth that a lot of us have growing up, between culture and media and the things you hear, and maybe you feel that you're being measured by how good you are in school when you're a child, and are you getting good grades, and then after that you want to get a good job and you're measuring your self-worth by the kind of job you get and if you get a promotion. So it seems that one of the myths, I think, of self-worth is that it's something that can be torn apart, shred, like you can shred it up and you can have no more. And so, part of what you're saying is that doesn't change. Your self-worth is not based on what you do. It's not about doing, it's about being.
Right. And you come being that way. So a myth is that anything that you experience in life takes away from your self-worth. Right. That is a myth. That because you did something bad in your past, and literally, I mean, no matter how bad, meaning down to like there's people that have killed people that have redeemed themselves. Their worth does not change. Now, human beings make you feel like your worth changes because of how they respond emotionally to whatever you are experiencing. Right. So that's a myth, that your environment and people and circumstances reduce your self-worth. That is a myth. That anything can take away your self-worth. That is a myth, and it's just not true. Okay. It's just not true. Yeah.
Okay.
So so you said myth and fact, right?
Yes, tell me something that's a fact about self-worth.
Right. The fact about self-worth that I believe more people need to embrace is that the value that you have to offer the world is that it is intrinsic value, which means it is here, which means no matter what you do, even when you're trying not to learn, you're still learning. So it's just there. So the fact is your self-worth cannot be moved even by you. That is a fact. No matter even what you think you can do to reduce your self-worth. If there's people that self-sabotage, or they do things to, when they don't feel worthy, they do things to increase that, feeling of not feeling worthy. Right. And I'm telling you that even doing that doesn't reduce your worth. Like, you're still worthy. That is a fact. Like, no matter what you think you're going to do to reduce that, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I love it. The self-worth is just, it's there. And I love the analogy of the $100 because, well, okay, maybe here we'll say, I don't know, 1,000 naira or whatever amount of money. We're just saying that your value is your value. You don't make it, you can't reduce it. But let me ask you this, can you increase self-worth? If you can't reduce it no matter what happens, is self-worth something you can build?
So it depends on how you're looking at it. I think there's a lot of things you can learn for you to feel more valuable. But it's the thing where I feel like there's a part of you, the breath of God that is in you, right? This is the reason we're able to move and make free will and think and breathe and walk around, is that there is something in you that is unmoved by good or bad. It's just there. And so if you can think of self-worth the same way, it's just there. Whether you do good or whether you do bad, it's just there. So now on a human level, if you do things to make yourself feel better, that's good for your, how do you say, your earth mind, right? But your spiritual mind, the soul part of you is unmoved by good or bad. It just is. And so I think the idea of increasing your self-worth, great in terms of human emotions and interactions to feel better, to communicate better because of how we communicate in this planet. But I don't believe it moves your self-worth. It's just there. It's just there. You know, everything else you do to increase your self-worth is to help you as an emotional human being feel better. But your self-worth is like, good or bad, I'm just solid. You know, whether you put me in the garbage or you scratch your marker on me, I'm still $100 bill. Doesn't matter.
I love it.
You know? So that's how I see it, you know, thinking about it.
Okay, fantastic. So let's move now to the next piece of this conversation, which is purpose, right? So what does that mean? How do you identify it? And since we started with the building blocks of self-worth, I would like you to connect purpose with self-worth.
Okay.
How do they interact? How do they go together? Do they go together? Does one build on the other? Are they separate? You know, let's know what you think.
Right. I'm excited that you're asking this. Okay, so I nerd out on this kind of stuff, but I go down to anytime I'm working on something, I look at the literal definition and the origin of the words. Yeah. And so the idea of purpose is, what is the intention of that something is set for? Like, what is this thing was created for? What? Like the purpose of a chair is so you can sit on it. Now, you can have a table and sit on the table, but it doesn't make it a chair. Right. The purpose of a chair is for it to be a chair. It's the chairness of the chair that makes it a chair. Yeah. So, I like that. Right. And, you know, so even if you have a table that you can sit on, it's still not a chair. You know. And so I think when you think about purpose, the idea is, okay, so you have self-worth, you have value. Okay, that I am worthy. I am as I am worthy of whatever it is that I want to accomplish. There is a sense of grounding that comes with your self-worth. The purpose now is like, okay, now I am worthy of whatever I'm supposed to accomplish in this world. The purpose is, what am I supposed to do with that worthiness, right? You have the $100 bill. What are you supposed to do with that $100 bill? Are you supposed to give it to somebody? Are you supposed to buy something with it? Are you supposed to put it in the bank? Are you supposed to invest it, right? These are simple analogies you can apply to your life. Like in terms of you understanding that the purpose of me on this planet is what? My purpose, like for me, and I remember when it fully, I fully kind of embraced it. I was like, really, that's it? It was so underwhelming.
Yeah, like that's all.
That's it, and it was a clear message of, Yetunde, you have all this energy and it is not for you. It is because I need you to fire up the people that are supposed to serve me and live their purpose. I was like, that's it? So all my little energy pom-poms, like, it's not for me. It's it's for me. It's for me to work with the people I work with, and and this is one thing that I know is a gift. Like when I work with my clients and my friends and we talk, they literally get fired. They feel like they can do anything. Yeah. They get fired like, okay, I got it. I make it simple and actionable and result driven, because I know that is the path that when people are confident in what they are able to do, they can go out and do it. So I give you that confidence, and it's your confidence that's already in you, actually. So I don't give it to you. I take that back. I activate the confidence that is already in you.
You validate. So you help them validate.
Exactly. It's like, okay, so it's basically like this. Your purpose is here. It's like an archaeology thing, right? Your purpose is buried all up in your, your misconceptions and your limiting beliefs and your thoughts and all your experiences. And I just come and I was like, oh, really? There's a brush. And I'm like, I brush it all up. I'm like, here you are, and so that's it. So I'm just helping you discover something that is already there. And so if you can understand that your purpose is, okay, I have value, right? I'm worthy of this. Now, what do I do with it? That is the purpose part, right? So, so if you you can have value, and it can be $100 bill that's just sitting there, or it can be $100 bill that's helping people, that's buying food, that is being invested, that is, you're doing something with your self-worth. And that thing that you're doing, that you feel like your self-worth has been called to do, is your purpose.
And everybody has one, right?
Everybody. Literally, think about all the animals and all the birds and all the creatures on this world. The only reason that they are not like us is because they do not have free will, but they're all in their purpose. All of them are doing things to help this ecosystem work. Now, the way I think about it is like an orchestra, right? So you have the supreme being, God, Allah, whatever you want to call the creator of everything, is the conductor. And some people are the bass, they're playing the drums. Some people are, you're a really good pianist, like whatever. It's a whole orchestra. Now, if you're all up in, you're supposed to be playing violin and you're over there trying to do drums, the music doesn't sound good.
It doesn't sound right.
If you're supposed to beat the drums and do it well,
Yeah.
And so that's how I see it. But because you have free will, you can decide to play your music anyhow and make the music all messed up.
Yeah.
Do better. We need good music around here. Do better, people. Do better.
Oh my goodness. I really like the way you broke down what purpose is, because I do think that a lot of people go around wondering what it is. And until you find it, until you know what it is, without a shadow of a doubt, even when you think it's simple, so you feel you are like, that's it. So it seems simple, but because it is yours and it is your truth, you do it in a way that nobody else can do it. Nobody else can give the kind of energy that you give us, So I love that. I think when you own it, it just makes life more beautiful, right? You wake up every day thinking, you know what? Hey, what's in store for us today? There's a sense of excitement of just getting it, getting it going. Okay.
I'm having goosebumps because the way I feel about that is like, once you step fully into your purpose, however simple or absurd or weird or unexpected it is, your suffering actually reduces. Literally, like the suffering, your suffering as a human being reduces, because now you're in flow, right? And so the idea is you keep learning so that you get better at that purpose, because it doesn't just be like, okay, I know what my purpose is. That's it. You have to freaking perfect it and do it so well that if you talk to anybody, it's activated. If they experience you, it's activated. That's what it means when you now master your purpose. And a lot of people they don't even know how to. They don't even want to step into it, because I think a lot of people know, but there's this push and pull between what people would think or even how they would feel about stepping into it. So there's a certain dissonance where I'm not ready. I don't know, but I'm like, if you step into it, you still have the work of mastering it. Like, it doesn't just like all of a sudden, okay, I've stepped into my purpose, done. You have to master it so well that you can do it in your sleep, that anybody talks to you and they're like, yep, she's living on purpose. They get it.
And it's really good that you say that, because first of all, it's confirming so much for me. But then in addition, I think when you start to walk in your purpose, sometimes you start thinking, why does this seem so simple? Can it really be this easy? Do you find that sometimes you're like, my goodness, this is too easy, this is too much fun, is this really it? Can you talk to that? Because I can see you sitting up. I've hit something.
I want to jump out of my seat, because that is part of the challenge that people struggle with. And the analogy I always use for my clients is, first of all, God is super simple. Human beings are the ones who complicate stuff. It's like simple. So if your gift is to be a good listener, that is your purpose. You might end up being a good psychologist. That's a means to execute that, or to be a good counselor, life coach, whatever that is. But your purpose and the way you get to it are different. So what happens is people always end up having the means be the purpose. Like, no, if your gift is to connect people, maybe you should do events so that you bring people together. Maybe you should host a live summit so you can bring people together. That is your purpose, is the connecting people, not the hosting events. Do you understand?
I see what you mean. Yes.
So I think the simplicity scares people because they cannot believe. They just the idea that is that simple is like not lie.
Just like
lie. It's not that simple. It cannot feel like good. It's supposed to be difficult.
Yes.
And I'm here to tell you, it is so that is the gift, is the simplicity, so that you can actually get about doing the impact work, because the work you still have to do is in the mastering and the reaching the people that you need to help. So if you really do want to do hard work, don't worry, there's work for you to attract the people you're supposed to help and to master your purpose. But the idea that the purpose thing is simple, it's simple. It's just simple. So accept that. It makes it easier for the journey ahead, because there are some things that will be difficult. So if you're looking for difficult, don't worry, it will come.
It will come.
But in terms of what that purpose is, understand and accept that it's simple. Period.
And I think another angle where there's some dissonance is, so you find it, then you might be surprised that, wow, is this supposed to be this simple? And like we've said, God is not complicated. It's the system, the world. We put all these pedestals and measures that we just complicate matters unnecessarily. On the other hand, it's very important, right, that we talk about the fact that though it's simple on one side because it's your purpose, it doesn't mean that everything on that journey will be easy. So I think being comfortable to do the work, to keep learning, to keep improving yourself, so we don't want to get to that lazy stage where we say, we figured out my purpose. I was meant to do ABC. Then you sit down and fold your hands and you're wondering why either your bank account is staring back at you, empty. Right?
What's happening?
Like, hey, hi. Or you're not doing the work to attract clients, and then you're wondering what's happening, so I think that's really interesting. I want us to talk really quick about something before we talk about how all of this ties to mental health and mental power. Imposter syndrome. That is something everybody.
I have a perfect quote that I just learned from one of my friends that I'm going to read to you.
Okay.
And it says, I'm looking down here. Guys, my camera's up here and Yitzi's here. So if I'm looking up and down, please understand it's me looking at my camera and looking at her.
Right.
But here's the quote about imposter syndrome that I heard yesterday, and I was like, it is perfect. And I think everybody should start using it. And this is by Felicia Hatcher. She said, imposter syndrome is a temporary lapse in your memory of who the F you are.
I like that.
Okay.
Wow. Read it again.
Imposter syndrome is a temporary lapse in your memory of who the F you are. Like you forgot all the stuff that you did that was like bomb. You forgot all the awesomeness, all the results you got for people, all the great things, all the good things. Like you forgot. I was like, ooh, that's deep. Because I'm like, that's what happens. Imposter syndrome is a temporary lapse in your memory of who the F you are. You are the bomb. Remember that. And if you need to write down all the awesome things you do and look at it and be like, I did that now. I did that to get your confidence, do that.
I really, oh my goodness, I love that. That one I'm going to ask you to send it to me again. I'm going to frame it and just put it right beside my bed, and I think that's why imposter syndrome is something that everybody suffers. No matter what stage you are, you're going to have that moment where you just freeze. It could even be a nanosecond. But you're like, is this really me? Can I really do this? And then you have to remind yourself that, yes, I can actually.
I experience it ever so often whenever I'm about to get a new client or that, somebody who seems like a big deal. And I'm like, oh my God, like, how am I going to handle this? And then, my husband's the one that's like my reminding me, and he's like, first of all, he's like, calm down. You've worked with Grammy Award winning artists. You've worked with Tony Award, like, and when I say I forget, I literally forget, because I'm just like, I gauge my life based on where I am now, not where I was coming from. But he's like, where you're coming from is what got you here. He's like, so please remember, you've done some incredible work.
Yes.
And that is why people are coming to you in the first place. So the reason they want to work with you is because of the stuff that you've done that you forgot that you did.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's awesome. Okay, so let's move into, as they'll say, the cocoa of the matter, the real deal. How we're fitting all these pieces together. I want us to talk about mental health, first of all, what it is, and why there's no need for us to shiver when we hear the phrase mental health. We're just saying the health of your mind. So let's talk about that. Then we're going to talk about mental power and how a woman or a man, anybody listening to this, can put all of this together to say, I'm going to work on my mental power, and it starts with me. So first of all, Yetunde, tell us what mental health means to you and why there's such a stigma around that phrase.
Mental health to me is gauging how I feel in whatever circumstance that shows up. So when I wake up in the morning, I gauge like, how do I feel? That's my mental health, like, because how I feel affects how I respond to the world, right? So I literally every morning, and it's work, every morning I wake up like, okay, how do I feel? And if I'm moody, or if I'm feeling like, maybe I had a bad
you
dream,
ever
I'm
moody?
like,
You?
excuse me, ma'am, you see my eyeballs? Ma'am, what? No, but that's the thing. I again, the whole idea of mastering myself. I'm very intentional about being the master of my emotions, how I feel, how I show up. So I've been working on it for a long time, mastering who I am. And so part of it is being able to get myself to the other side quicker than before, right? So, sometimes you're in a mood. Now it's different now that I have daughters, because now me mastering my mind is integrated with how they feel, so it affects me a lot more. And I'm like, oh my God, it's like a different level I have to reset.
Yes.
Like if they're having a bad day, it affects me. I'm like, man, this, I can't just shut it off. So now I'm mastering how to integrate their emotions with mine in a way that I can get all of us to a balanced place. So for me, mental health is checking in on how I feel in a way that is not too negative. And if it's too negative, I have to have 4 or 5 thoughts to grab that negative thought. Because I realized the power of my mind a long time ago. And I used to have some dark thoughts, like some crazy random, like, I'm like, yes, and I can't check myself. My good side would be like, yes, why are you thinking this stuff? Like, what, where is this coming from? And so to be able to catch my mind, going in the other direction so my mental health is, how do I feel right now? And is it so far off that I will make irrational decisions, or I will make decisions that for now feel good, but in the long term won't work for me? So mental health is for me, it's checking in on how am I feeling in a way that doesn't affect me long term negatively.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. I like how you broke that down. It's really critical. How you feel, because at the end of the day, no emotion in itself is bad. It's
right.
It's how you react to it, what you do with it, and being kind to yourself to understand. I'm feeling this way. It's indicative of something. So what am I going to do about this? What can I control? What can I change? So it's so important to pause. And I love what you said about waking up and asking yourself that question. Even if it's a few seconds, it just grounds you. So before you get out of the bed and get going with the day, if it's the moody side that woke up today, or and then what you're going to do differently. Maybe that's the day you don't. I wouldn't talk to anybody till I have a cup of coffee, whatever it is. But
Or you turn on the music, right? So for me, that's one of my what is it? So when I have a trigger of an emotion, I know I have certain things I do to switch. So for me, Afrobeats, like I turn on my Afrobeat music, and then I put together a playlist of my best 90s song. Like I have things that like literally in a minute help me switch. And there's a radio station called Star Point Radio. I've been listening to them since I was 25.
How old?
And they play Yoruba music.
How old are you?
I'm 39, about to be 40. So I know, right? So I have been listening to them that's one of the ones that when I'm feeling homesick, or I'm feeling like I'm moving away from myself in terms of me being identifying as a Yoruba woman, or feeling like I'm too Americanized, I turn on Star Point Radio, and it reminds me, and everything they say is in Yoruba. The commercials are in Yoruba, the music. I'm like, yes, I'm a Yoruba girl. I'm good. So I have my different resolutions to when this emotion shows up. This is what I do. You have to have that for me at least. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I've never thought about replacing knowing what to do to turn every emotion around. I've never thought about doing it for each one and having something ready so that I know if I'm feeling this way. It's not enough to just name it. I know I'm feeling a little funky for whatever reason. It's important to know what to do to take myself out of that. So thanks for that. Okay, so let's talk about mental power. And I think that's where we're going to wrap everything up and just put it all together. So we've talked about self-worth. We've broken down the myth versus the fact. Your self-worth doesn't change, doesn't diminish. Nothing can change it. You can do things to help you be more aware of it and to feel better about your self-worth, but the self-worth in itself doesn't change. Then the
Yeah.
second thing we talked about was purpose, and everybody has one. It can be simple. It doesn't mean that it will always be easy, but it can be
Right.
simple. It should be
Right.
simple because when you get into your flow, you're like,
Right.
wow, this is what I was meant to do, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I talk about my 3 Ps. That goes for my passion, something I started as passion, to purpose when I was like, whoa, this is what I was meant to be doing. And then the profit got added on. So that was
Yeah.
a beautiful third, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's nothing more amazing than being in that space. Everything
Yeah.
just feels, honestly, it's the best place to
In
be.
flow. I know, I know, I know. And it's like you try to explain it to people, like, I don't know how you have to be there. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. I
Exactly.
totally get
But
it.
when you see
Yeah.
people who are there, I think that's, for example, why I connected with you so much. You connect with people who are in the flow. You can just,
Yeah.
like, you can smell yourself. They're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I'm
Yeah.
me,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Right. 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 Right.
And so we've also talked about mental health, what it is, checking in with your emotions, how you feel. So
Yeah.
now you see, I'm a good student. I'm taking
I know. Look at
right?
you taking notes. I need to take notes too.
I know. So let's put it all together. What does, and especially since you're the first session we're having, what does
Yeah.
mental power mean? And how do we harness that?
Right. So when I think about power, right? Power, depending on how you see, so people always think of the phrase power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolute. I'm like, put that to the side. Like, that's human beings all up in their ego. Take the ego aside. Power is the ability to make change any way you want. Now, obviously, my hope is that people use their power for good. And so that's why I think more good people need to step into their power, because they will do more good. So when I think about mental power, it's your ability to be able to be in charge and be the master of your mental capacity, of your mental expansion, right? Of your mental state of mind. You know, when if you know that you're somebody who's a hothead, you get angry, because everybody has different temperament. If you're someone who gets upset quickly or easily, how do you master? Because I don't like the word control, because it means that if you control something, it can be out of control. How do you master it so that you get to tell it what you want it to do? And the thing is, there's been studies that show that your mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what you're dreaming about. So literally, you can tell your mind whatever the hell you want to. Anything. So when I think of mental power, I think of your ability to master your mind in such a way that you can go in any direction of emotion you want to go, to the benefit of the higher version of yourself, to the benefit of the people you're supposed to serve. So when you have mental power, is being able to understand that if you're going through something, if you have a loss in the family, you understand that there's a process to going through loss. So it's not a matter of, okay, I'm shutting down the fact that I lost somebody and I'm going to just switch to this thing. No, mental power is understanding, you're going to go through these stages, and you already you're prepared for it in your mind of, okay, I know I'm going to have grief. I'm going to have, denial, like all of those levels of emotions for different things. Is being able to accept that I know I'm going to go through this. I know I'm going to come out of this. And sorry, I have a mindfulness bell that comes on to center me. That's what you're hearing, right?
All right.
So being able to master your mind is to help you. Being able to have mental power is to help you master your mind in such a way that you let your mind flow in the direction of the emotions that you're going through, but in a way that you get to call the shots on your mind. You get to call the shot, nobody else. So somebody's not going to come with some attitude and you'll be like, oh my God, they made me mad. No, you get to choose if you're mad at what they say, whether you're married or not. Because, my husband and we have our moments, and I'm just like, I have to remind myself, I am responsible for how I react to what he says. I am responsible, right? And now obviously it may be a challenge if you're living with the person, because you're like, they can influence your moods, but understand that you still always have a choice in how you react to what they tell you. And remembering that what people do is not about you. It's about how they feel. So if you can remove yourself from that, it ain't about you. And I say that with love. People are like, no. They're expressing themselves because this is how they feel. They're just letting you know. Now, whether they're pointing fingers at you doesn't matter. Their expression is how they feel. So you have to take responsibility for your mental power by being in control of your reactions and mastering your mental journey to whatever emotional states, so that you can teach other people how to do it. And because when you can master your mind, I think there's a new level that you get to in terms of understanding and seeing the world that you cannot get until you master your mind. And so for me, for a long time, I think started in 2009, I've been on a mind mastery journey. And so there are just certain things that I get now that I'm like, oh my God, I can't even be upset at it because I get the dynamics of human reaction or how I even respond to things. And I catch myself in like the honesty, right? I catch myself when I'm overreacting, like, and I think, okay, this is a deeper issue. What is it I'm responding to? I'm responding to the fact that I feel lost from something. What is the loss of? Like, you dig deeper, so you have the roots of the reason you responded. My husband and I always say it's the sock in the chair. Like you go off on, why did you put the sock in the chair? First of all, whatever you're reacting to is not about the sock on the chair. So you not need to now dig deeper. Okay, so obviously it's me feeling like I'm not appreciated. What does that mean? It means like, I need to, whatever, like just dig deeper. And I think once you get to a level where you master your mind in such a way that you understand how it works, it's like freaking looking at music. Like you can see it flow and you're like, oh, I see what's happening. And so you rise above in a way that you can help other people master their mind.
Yes. I love, I've been thinking, I wish I had the sound of a mic drop. I would just play right now and just say, all right, I'm going home, That was so good. I almost feel like not even asking my last question because you just did a fantastic job there. But I really wanted to ask, if, as we wrap up, I mean, I could talk to you all day, but if you were going to wrap up and say, this is my message, either to my younger self as Yetunde, I'm Yetunde too, by the way, so every time I say that, it's a little funny.
Right.
Either a message to your younger self, or you are writing a little note about mental power 2020, and you want to put it maybe in your daughter's, I don't know, keepsake box or something for them to open when they're teenagers. What would you say mental power looks like? What would you say you want them to take away? What would you maybe wish you knew when you were younger? And just wrap all of that together into imagine this is a capsule that you're putting into a vitamin box, and every day I need to take one dose and swallow it with water. What is that?
Right. I had an emotional moment in my mind because I grew up like a scared child. I was always, I don't know what it was, if it was DNA, if it was, being in my mom's stomach, I don't know what it was. Whatever it was, I grew up scared a lot. Like I was just walking around the street scared. And I'm like, what the heck? Like I couldn't understand it. And it wasn't until I got older and the idea of mastering my mind, right? And so the thing that I realized now from that experience, because obviously it helped me get here, is a vision that I had maybe February, sometime in February. And the vision was this. I was doing my yoga, with my yoga teacher. And the vision I had was this big, bright, white light, just huge, right? This is me awake. So it's not like I slept, right? Huge, white, bright light. And this bright light, I now saw little human being bodies with pieces of that light in them. Right? So there's bodies walking around with light. And the message I got was, I need you to tell them that their light never goes dim. I need you to let them know that no matter what they do, literally, no matter what you do, and I don't want you to go out doing some crazy stuff, but literally, no matter what you do, the light of the being God that created this planet is in you. Like you cannot do anything about it. You have the light of God in you. That is why you can breathe. That is why you can create. The ability of God to create the world. You have a piece of that in you. This is why we're all creating stuff. And so that was a message I got of, my light is always in you, and I need to share that message. I was like, okay. And it says, no matter what you're going through, all you may need to do is take off the blanket or take a shower, because the light is always in you. I think what happens is people walk around the earth, they get dirty just from dust, nothing crazy. I have experiences. And the message was, just get under the water and wash it up. The light is still there. Yeah. So, people get all dusty and they think, oh my God, I don't have the light of God in me anymore. It's not going in. It's the value thing. It ain't going nowhere.
There.
So if you have a blanket over you, take the blanket off. If you feel a little like, oh my God, my light is dim, I'm gonna get under the shower and wash it off. Like, the idea is that the light of God is always in you, and and just remember that. So whenever you feel, you know, you are not worthy, or whenever you feel, you know, you might be a little dirty, like life experience, the metaphor, whatever that means to you. Whenever you feel like, you know, nobody's seeing my light, it's all in a blank, get your blanket off, go take a bath, dust it off, because that light is in you. And so the message to myself, my younger self, and my girls is that your light doesn't change. The light of God is always in you. And so you can do anything. And whenever you have moments of doubt and self-doubt and fear, take a shower, take the blanket off, because that light is there. And so that means you have a piece of God in you. I mean, that's an amazing, I'm having goosebumps because I have a piece of God in me. What?
Let's just pause on that. You know,
Marinate on that.
I'm having goosebumps. I feel like I just got a hug from heaven. Like, girl, you know, like literally. And that is so, man, that is powerful stuff. And, you know, said so simply. And I think that's the beauty of it. And what I love about this conversation is it's a reminder that God thinks each and every single one of his children, we are here for a special purpose. There's a way we're meant to connect with the world, and we need to flow. It is critical. It is not a luxury. It is a necessity to flow. Because when you flow, you are thriving. When you thrive, everybody around you benefits. Your family,
right.
Your children. That's right. Nobody can pour from an empty cup. So unless your cup is full, you can't do anything about it. This has been amazing, Yetunde. Honestly,
I love it. This was so fun. We should do this again.
We definitely have to. I like how we said Mental Power 2020, because this is just the beginning, you know? So as we wrap up, just tell people where they can find you, where they can connect with you, and then we're going to wrap up.
Well, thank you guys so much. You can find me I spend my time on Instagram at Yetunde Shorters. That's YETUNDE Shorters, SHORTERS. And my website is yetundeshorters.com. So if you're a woman leader who is trying to get to your next level of purpose, for impact, community, and for authenticity, let's connect, because I want to help you step fully into your purpose, because there are people whose lives you're supposed to impact, and I need you to help. I need to support you in seeing that, so that you can help them. All right, so let's do this.